Today on the Ignite podcast, we had AnnMarie Fereday with us. She is the founder and digital strategist at Refine Marketing, and she provided us with a lot of great tips that we can consider as we are building business, as we're using marketing. She is a wife, a mother, she's a Minnesotan, and she just provided us with a ton of great content that we can use as we're developing things. She has been an instrumental part of the Ignite brand and conference. You do not want to miss this episode. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. This is Kara Kirsch, the founder of the Ignite Women in Business and Insurance podcast. It is Friday. It's extremely cold in Nebraska, and we're here because we can get out in the cold, and even though school is canceled just for it being cold. So today I am excited to introduce my guest, AnnMarie Fereday.
Hi.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
I'm good. This is a little weird for me because, I produce some of this type of stuff at work, and I'm never usually on this side of
the guest.
I'm like a little nervous.
The guest. Don't be nervous. It's going to be so much fun.
I shouldn't be, but I kind of am. I mean, do I have something interesting to say? I don't know.
Absolutely, you do. So let me tell you a little story.
Okay.
So I have had the privilege of knowing AnnMarie's husband actually longer than her. And for years, he was like, you got to meet my wife. You got to meet my wife. And then, as men do, it gets locked away in item number 743 for them to think that they need to do. And then it never happens. And so finally, he says, you got to meet my wife. And so we met. And it was like an instant energy that we shared with each other. But not only that, just a beautiful soul of a person. Oh. And so there were so many things that I felt when I met you. I felt your good heart. I felt your intelligence. I felt your founder bossness. I felt your love for your kids, and I felt your love for your husband. And all of that together was what kept me coming back for more. And fast forward, now we're business partners in 2 different ventures of mine, which has been so much fun. And people are saying to me lately, who's doing your social?
Oh, good.
So you're doing a really good job on that. And I've just really loved getting to know you and getting to know the person that you are. So thank you for being so supportive of me and being there for me.
Of course. Well, you're an easy person to brand because you have so much to say. You stand for so much. You're very well connected. And, I believe in you. I believe in your product. And that makes it very easy to help you sell, your business and promote the conference, which is growing so much and coming up. So we've got a lot of fun things going on.
We do. So tell our listeners a little bit about you. And this is a funny thing that I've started to say. Where did you come from other than your mother?
Oh, yes. Where did I come from? I've come from a lot of places. I'm kind of a Midwest girl.
Yeah. And I think that's another thing that brings us together.
Yeah.
And especially because you're from Minnesota.
I'm from Minnesota.
Yeah. And I lived in Minnesota as a kid.
I went to college in Nebraska. Met my husband there. We lived in Chicago for a long time, which is where I started my career in marketing. Mm-hmm. So I am a marketing professional. Specifically, my business is focused on digital marketing.
And what's the name of your company?
It's called Refine Digital Marketing.
Mm-hmm.
But inevitably, when you start working with somebody on primarily digital tactics, you realize they need help with branding. They need help with their website. And it kind of has rolled into more of just like a full service marketing partnership that I have with a portfolio of about 20 clients now that range the board from nonprofits to, business to business services to e-commerce, brands, clothing brands, med spa, some home services brands. So kind of all
financial
over.
services.
Financial services too. Mm-hmm.
What about you as a woman? So you went to school at Creighton.
Yes.
And tell us a little bit about your journey growing through that.
Sure. I went to school at Creighton, not from Nebraska, from Minnesota. I grew up and I had big ideas for myself. And I grew up in a small town like you.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided that I just wanted something more. And so Creighton, Omaha was about 4.5 hours away from my hometown. So it gave me a little space to kind of be in my own person. And it's where I met my husband. And my mom's side of the family is from Chicago. And so my dream was to move to the big city after college. And so we did that and we had the best time. I mean, our 20s were so much fun in Chicago. I worked at the world's largest media buying agency there. And that's where I got my start in marketing. But met so many great friends that now live all over the country. I think that Chicago is such a melting pot
I
of people
agree.
from all over.
I love going.
So now I have friends all over, and we all kind of came back a little bit to where we started. I realized in my late 20s that it wasn't going to be a great place to raise a family, and so we moved back to Omaha, where all of our
What year
college
was that?
friends I think it was 2011.
Okay.
Yeah, so we've been here.
And was Andy working in insurance in Chicago?
Yes, same company.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So he moved back here and with me, obviously, and we had 3 kids. But the fun thing about my kids is that they're very spread out in age. So we have a 13-year-old, an 11-year-old, and then 10 years later decided that we wanted to have another baby. And so now we have our 3-year-old little girl, Mora. And so, she's thrown us for a little bit of a loop, but wouldn't change a thing. And during that process, that was kind of what motivated me to want to start my own business, to have more flexibility in my day. That I can work where I want, when I want, so that I have time to take my kids to be an Uber driver, essentially, which is my second job. So, lots of driving.
Wait, where is chef, laundry doer, house cleaner, all things?
I know.
The person that takes your baby out of church because she's being too loud. That was one of my favorite things that you shared with me lately, is I'm like, oh, those days.
I know, those days.
I took 10 to church, and we sat, St. Leo has a kids room. I mean, it was ridiculous in there. There was no churching happening in there. It was literally parents sitting there to fulfill their Sunday obligation.
Yeah.
I hate that for you guys. I wish there was a better way.
I know.
But kids have to learn.
The nice thing is that I have perspective now, because I have a 13-year-old.
Yeah.
I think I know when I had the 2 little boys, I just felt in it, and it was just very frustrating. And now it's I have perspective that it goes so fast, and this time is so fleeting, and so it's okay.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a more laid back mom now, so that's been fun to parent with that perspective.
Well, and as you're parenting a daughter, different than a son or your sons, and you are more relaxed, this too shall pass kind of. I think as women, we don't learn that until we're much, much older.
Yeah.
And so that's good that you're able to instill that in her now and let her see that. I love that. And you guys did something really cool as a family this last summer. Tell our listeners about that.
Yeah. Well, we were kind of talking a little bit about balance and how crazy it is as a parent and a business owner to balance life. And we decided last year, we're on the hamster wheel. Both of our boys are in club athletics plus their school athletics. We had the baby, and we're just going. We're just not really taking a breath to appreciate the moment. And so we found out about this program called Boundless Life, which is they do these 3-month kind of family study abroad programs around the world. They have 7 different schools now across the world. And we love to travel so much. And we always had dreams of living abroad with our kids. But, life goes so fast. And it's hard to take time to go do that type of thing. It's hard to find a week to go do it where we're not missing a soccer tournament or something. So we just decided, you know what, we're gonna do this. We're gonna take the leap. We're gonna. Luckily, I've built a business that's can be remote for the most part. And Andy's work was very flexible with him and allowing him to do this special thing. So we took our family. We moved to a Greek island, and we lived there for 3 months, which allowed us to spend a lot of quality time together. A lot of time outdoors, eating great food, just living life and appreciating it and experiencing it, and not letting it just fly by, you know?
Not letting your life live you.
Yeah.
It's funny because I've been telling people recently, and I don't think it really hit me until last week. So I'd been working on the launch of my own company since December 1st. My company the decision was before that, but I didn't realize how unhappy I was.
Mm-hmm.
And I was unhappy because I had to use a lot of energy to be someone I wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
And not that it was a drastic change, but it was just enough, minimizing, that it was energy that I was using for that.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to not be there. I have my different stressors now, right? But I love it that you and Andy did that. That was a really cool story. And I remember him telling me about it and you telling me about it too. And so the name of that organization is called Boundless Life.
Boundless Life, yeah.
And so for any of our listeners that are interested, obviously you can reach out to AnnMarie on LinkedIn, but also find the organization.
Yes.
So let's transition a little bit into being a business owner. Tell us about Refine, how it launched, what it looks like now. What are lessons you've learned, etc.?
Yes. So Refine launched, I think it'll be our 5-year anniversary coming up this summer. Um, I have worked at lots of agencies over the course of my 20-year career in marketing, starting from, like I said, the largest media buying agency in the world to then moving back to Omaha, working on more regional brands here. Worked at a couple great agencies here in Omaha, but still pretty good size companies, right? And I just noticed, I mean, they do great work, but I just noticed that there was a lot of like process when you grow and you've got a lot of people involved. There's a lot of red tape, and so one of my colleagues and I just decided, we feel like we can do this faster. We can be more nimble in our strategy. We can, more and more the creative side of things. There's quick ways to get that done that doesn't have to be expensive for the client, like utilizing tools like AI and Canva to create a lot of quality content, but a lot of it. And so we just decided, let's take a step back and start our own group, our own agency called Refine, and we will work with maybe smaller businesses that need to expand their digital footprint and be Google with SEO, social media, both organic social media content and paid ads and campaigns, website management, content generation, et cetera. And so we started with like 3 clients and now we've grown to about 20. I'm very excited that this year just this month, we've hired our 3rd team member, our first real full-time employee. And we do work with a cohort of freelancers, but really excited to have like another resource on board. She's a videographer, photographer, so we're going to be able to extend a lot of our content creation development. So I think, just having the flexibility and you can relate to this now, having started your own firm, but there's something about it like being your own. I think it's easier to sell because you believe in the product so much because it's you.
Right. Well, someone said to me yesterday, I went to a networking event in the morning and a gentleman said, it's different when it's your name on the line. Mm-hmm. And my name was always on the line to me. My mom always used to tell me that I was an entrepreneur inside large organizations. And she said that was always good for them, but not always good for me because I put my whole self into it and only to make a lot of money for someone else or, give someone my ideas or whatever that might be. And so I am excited about my own brand. Mm-hmm. And the cool part is I have worked really hard for the past 11 years to build my brand. People know who I am.
Yeah, you've done a good job.
And they know what I stand for. They know what I'm not going to do. They know that my word is really important. Mm-hmm. And so I've been happy to have you with me on this journey. Yeah. Not only has the work been tremendously good and effective, but also just as a person who's been launching a company before. What are some of the things that you would give as advice to entrepreneurs who are launching and things that you've learned?
Yeah. I mean, I think that the biggest thing is a lot of people, you start a company because you're really good at that thing, right? For me, it was for marketing. I'm really good at doing the work.
Yeah.
And so I think the thing that catches you off guard a little bit when you start your own business is that there's a lot more that goes into running a business than like the work itself.
Yeah.
It's sales, which to be honest was the most intimidating piece to me because I never considered myself to be a salesperson. I was a really good strategic marketer. I'm really good with people and relationships, but going out and trying to drum up business was never my skill set, or so I thought. But something that was really amazing to me is, like I said earlier, all of a sudden when the product was me and us and this thing that we built that we know we're really good at, it's pretty easy to sell when you're so confident in the product and the outcome.
Absolutely.
So that wasn't that big of a deal. But a lot of the administrative stuff behind the scenes, just how do I set up QuickBooks, so billing, so I think having people that have been there before that can kind of pitch you the right tools. So the learning curve is pretty steep. So I would say, if you're starting a business, not to maybe overlook that because it is important to have that foundation. And I know you've done a really good job of just bringing in the right people.
Yeah, I was
sure that you're setting up that infrastructure the right way.
Yeah, I was just going to speak into that a little bit. So one of the things that I've had the privilege, and this is a privilege because it takes money, the privilege of doing because I had saved was to have experts do things that I knew I wasn't good at. And I wanted to be really polished, because I could have easily, you can make a website.
Right.
I made my son one for his lawn business.
Mm-hmm.
You can get a domain, you can all the things. And for me, it was really important that I had the right people helping me set it up correctly. In fact, last week I met with a bookkeeper,
Mhm.
and I'm a little small for her right now, but she's agreed to take me on as a project based. And so she just got done setting up my QuickBooks.
Amazing.
And so we have co-access. And so she interviewed me kind of and said, what kind of accounts are you going to have? And what's your receivables going to look? That's not my area of expertise.
Right.
And so having someone that is a CPA and has done that work at really big companies was helpful to me.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the things that you have leveraged, as you said you work with a lot of freelancers? What are the things your clients ask you for that you're like, oh, let me get someone to do that. Let me not spend time on that?
Yes. Well, I mean, up until this month, any kind of videography, photography, I'm never going to say that I'm an amazing photographer. It's amazing the things you can do with your phone. But when you want some really nice brand photos,
yeah,
those are things I would bring in. Now I have somebody in house to help me with, so that's awesome.
Yeah.
There is a lot of technical.
And she's great at Photoshop.
Yeah,
we know that.
That's true. Some of the technical back end website stuff. There's just people that are You're using your business as an example. You have an IT company that helped us with getting the emails set up and things like that. Those aren't necessarily things in my wheelhouse. I'm kind of sitting on more of the messaging, branding, creative side, and then also I have a lot of skill in determining where are the right platforms or outlets to push that message out and distribute it. So another area that we partnered with somebody specifically for the Kirsch Group was in PR.
Oh, yeah.
I think that is a really niche skill set because it comes down. I mean, I can write a press release. ChatGPT can write a press release, and I can send it out to the 4 or 5 major media outlets in Omaha. But PR anymore has become a lot more about relationship building and knowing, pitching, and having those relationships with people that you can call up when the time's right and they trust you that you're going to have a good story. So anyway, I think that's another thing that we have pulled in some extra resources on. But all in all, I really try to be a pretty comprehensive resource to people because a lot of my clients are business owners who they're not big enough to have a marketing team. Mm-hmm. Or in some instances, there's a marketing director, but they don't have a team behind them. Mm-hmm. And so that's where we can come in and really be that full service CMO for hire, marketing team for hire. We still would cost less than a full-time employee.
Yeah.
So that's where we found our niche to be.
That's something that I'm excited about when it comes to the Kirsch Group. And on this show, I don't talk a lot about the Kirsch Group because I try to stay focused on Ignite and its mission. But that's been one of the things that's been really fun for me is finding partners that fill a need that, to be honest, even in the big firms I worked in, they couldn't do it well. Mm-hmm. And because they try to build it themselves, they try to be all things to everyone. And for me to appropriately manage my time, I've decided I'm not all things to all people. And so have the right partners to fill those gaps. That could change over time, but for right now, that's where I am. And that includes Ignite. So you've done all the social for, I think this is year 3.
Yeah.
For Ignite and boosting the conference and elevating the conference. And it's been amazing. Our new brand that we launched 3 years ago, and you've really helped with the social content. And it has helped us to build our brand and had people asking, hey, what is this, conference that you have? And so it's been great to have you as a partner there too, have you a partner on both fronts. And honestly, people ask me, who's doing it? Because they think I am. And I'm like, no, that is not my game. So it's interesting. You mentioned AI. How do you think AI is going to change the marketing landscape at all?
Well, it's changing a lot. I mean, it helps me a ton in the day to day. I know that a lot of marketers are concerned, it's going to completely replace the marketing industry. I don't believe that because I still think that you need somebody behind the strategy. But, I read a statistic that said that now officially 50% of new content that's generated online, 50% of new articles that have been generated, I believe in the last month, or 50% of them were AI generated. And that's fine and well because it can serve a purpose on expanding the content on your website that can help you rank for different keywords in SEO. But at some point, AI is just going to be digging through AI to, surface information. And I feel like that the quality is eroding.
Yeah.
And so what I keep telling my
clients,
the
long dash. What's that thing called?
The long tail.
Yeah.
So
weird.
Yeah.
Did you know you can teach your AI not to use it?
Oh, the M dash.
Yeah,
That's
the M
right.
dash.
Yes, I know. That's so obvious.
And it's so obvious.
Yeah.
And so anyone who doesn't, I didn't know.
Yeah.
And then someone said, if you have a long dash, I'm not reading it. I'm like, I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah.
And so now I've taught my AI to not
use
it. Mm-hmm.
Well, I just think that I've been really trying to encourage my clients that now since we all kind of expect that most of the things that we're reading are just regurgitated AI, or even the images are starting to kind of look the same, like everything's feeling like a little vanilla, that more than ever you need to put your people at the front and center, because like I think the best way to be an authentic brand is to showcase what makes you different, and that we're not robots, we're real people with real ideas and real perspectives, and great relationships. And so I think to brands, any way that you can put your people, like your unique assets, at the forefront of your brand, like that's going to make you stand out now more than ever, which is why I'm having more and more people come to me asking for photo shoots and videos and whatnot, because you can't generate that with AI.
No.
You know, we did some really nice videos for your brand too that just allows you to speak your truth. It's not written, because we can assume that was just a caption written by So that's what I'm really encouraging people to do, is just like bring that unique perspective to the table, because I believe that that's what AI's, all of the LLMs are going to reward the brands that are bringing something new, and they're not just copy and pasting from ChatGPT.
And so just to summarize that, what I hear you saying is like AI is here to stay. There is a purpose for AI, but there's still a purpose for people. And the more that people can continue to tell their story in a visible, vocal way, the better it is for the world.
And for the world, and I think that it's going to allow you to differentiate, because if everybody's just relying on AI, they're all going to start looking the same. So until you can say something different and put yourself out there, I think that this is an opportunity for you to stand out.
Yeah. What would you say are, if you were launching again or were coaching another business, what are some marketing tips that you think are valuable for people to use?
Yeah. So there's I would say 5 things that are just easy in some capacity, right? To at least just check off your list.
Yeah.
So we put together a checklist when we were first launching, and it's what are the things we need to do? I would say, number 1, you need to set up a Google business profile or optimize that Google business profile. That's the first place that Google's going to go, even before your website, to understand, are you a legit business? What do you do? How credible are you? So that would be number 1.
Pause. I learned this week that you can, for people like me, and I don't know if you have this, you can call your cell phone company and get a business line attached to your cell phone number.
Oh.
So you have 2 numbers attached to your cell phone. And when you text, it asks you, are you sending it from your business line or your personal line? So I will be doing that this weekend.
Cool. Well,
my personal cell is out everywhere, so it doesn't really matter. But someone shared that with me recently. So I think that's important information for us to know.
Yeah.
Because for small businesses that are starting, especially since there's not any landlines and people aren't doing brick and mortar the same way they used to, that's good for people to know.
Right.
So I just wanted to share that with you.
You
yeah,
know?
Totally.
So that was the first thing, is just make sure your Google business profile is optimized and up to date. And then the second thing, which is related to that, is to try and get as many reviews as possible. There are a couple weird things that the LLMs, ChatGPT, look for when they're kind of ranking recommendations, and they rely on reviews very heavily. So I would say, even if it's just reaching out to your friends and family, they don't even have to write anything, just giving a 5-star review. If somebody's comparing 5 different businesses that do the same thing, I don't know if you do this, but sometimes not even half of them are fake, but you go on and you can see, well, this place looks legit, and I validate that decision that way. So I would say it's easy.
More when I have services in my home, will you give us a Google review? That's a thing.
It's a thing because I think the user uses it, but I also think that from a back end perspective, it helps validate your brand so that it's being served up more often, especially on Google, but also on AI platforms. The next thing would be to really, I think the biggest asset that any business has is their first party data. And what I mean by that is their customer lists. So making sure that you're organizing your prospect list and your client list, and you're leveraging them to your best advantage. Are you sending a regular email? It doesn't even have to be a super fancy polished marketing email. It could just be something to like stay in their sphere of influence. So even if they don't need your service, you're top of mind that they can recommend you to somebody else. So just staying on top of those current customers. There are also more sophisticated ways of uploading that information to paid campaigns, to inform strategies of finding people that look like your current customers. But I just would say, like, make sure that you're taking an organized approach to tracking who you're talking to and keeping that database up to date.
And you know what? I always was really good at tracking that, but it's because the operational work was done by someone else. And so this weekend, I have a full weekend of things. But yesterday, I ran out of steam at about 2:00. It taught me a lot because honestly, yesterday, I shouldn't have had anything in my day. I should have woke up a little later, got a walk or a workout, went to have coffee with myself, used that day to work. And I'm a little behind the 8 ball now because I didn't have that. And this weekend, I have a lot going on. And so the other thing I would just offer as a new entrepreneur is think about your time, because you could work all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't want to do that. I want to work and I want to work hard. And everyone who knows me and has worked with me knows that I will do that. But I don't want to work all the time. And so yesterday at 2:00, I went home and I couldn't do anything for the rest of the day. I had to just relax.
But that's amazing.
But I
You
woke up
recognize
today
that.
and I was like, okay, I know I have a full day, but not super. But it's caused me to look ahead in my calendar. And so next week I'm like, I got to get some stuff out of here that's not revenue generating, because what's going to happen is I get tired and then I don't have time to do the part that is most important.
Yep.
So just share that in addition to that is like, I think we have to do it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Well, when it's your own business, and you're so invested in it, it's like the to-do list never ends, right? You're not going into work and like checking off your list for the day and going home to someone else's
clocking out.
You can always do you can always write another thought leadership article. You can always make another phone call. You can always set up another coffee. So, I mean, you said something the other day to me that was like, you're like, so when do you stop? Like, and I kind of took a step back because I've been working for myself now for 5 years from home. And I guess I don't really think about those types of things. And I think that the way my life's structured a little bit differently is like I have to stop at 4:00 because my kids get home from school and we have like a full night of, so it forces me. But if I didn't have those obligations, I could totally see myself like and then you just burn yourself out.
Well, and also those times are going to come. Your kids are going to grow up and they're going to leave, and then you and Andy are going to be like, da da da, what are we doing tonight? Take it from me. I mean, I called my daughter on the way to record today and I was like, hey, I don't have any food at my house and she's like, you better go to the store. You have your grandson tomorrow. And I'm like, well, I have enough food to feed one child. Like I've got macaroni and cheese, milk, apples, oranges.
He doesn't require a lot.
No, fruit snacks, cereal. I got him the special cereal he likes, which by the way is Reese's Puffs.
Oh my God.
And
grandmas can do that.
Yeah. And so, but like you as a empty nester, you have what would think unlimited time.
Right.
You do not, because you have to rest. And I'm older than you too. And so I'm like, I've made a conscious decision in my mind that the office door at my house gets closed at 5:00. Now that doesn't mean that at 8:00 I'm not like, oh, I have an idea and I go get my laptop and bring it into my room or I write. But time is something I'm paying really close attention to.
Yeah.
And that's why even on Sunday, I loved it so much that you said, hey, we're going to a later mass. I've got to talk to you later. So what I heard you say as my friend is my family's important to me. I'm prioritizing my faith. You're important to me too, Kara, but these are more important to me. And I think the way we respond to our friends and women in business is really important, because I could have easily been like, I'm your client and I need your time.
Right.
No.
And some do.
And that's not okay.
So
I have a no dick rule. I'm not working with any dicks.
You know what? I have this year, one of your questions that when I was preparing for this was around like kind of pitfalls or, challenges and I have to say up until this point, I mean, it's been really hard for me to say no. I'm a people pleaser. I'm the oldest girl of 4 kids.
And hence another reason why we're besties.
Yeah. I mean, it's like you just want to, and I'm an achiever and I just want to make people happy. And it's like, I have said yes, probably to majority of the project, if not all projects that have come my way. Because at the beginning, you kind of need to say yes, right? Like you just need to get good. You're willing to do stuff for nothing. You just want to get great case studies, great brands behind you. And now it's like we're established. And I actually said no to like one of my first projects yesterday. And I was so proud of myself.
Good for you. I'm doing the little mini clap.
No, because it's just,
Boundaries. I love a boundary.
I could feel those little like sirens going off in the back of my head. And so many times I silence them and I'm like, I need this business. I'm just going to move forward with it. But I'm like, it's telling me this for a reason. It's not going to end well. The client's expectations were very high. They had problems that I was not confident that I could solve for. And I just decided, you know what? I don't know that this is a good use of my time. Like I've got a lot of other great things cooking that I would rather allocate and pour into. Not to mention my family too. Yeah,
right. So, you know what? That's happened to me with Ignite. So this year, there were two things that happened. One of them was for the first time I put out on social, who knows people who speak. And I actually got a lot of really great women that I interviewed. And I wanted to have a space for all of them. And I believe someday I will. Like they'll be somewhere.
Breakout sessions.
But I picked two women. And as I got to know them, I picked them purposely because they were just getting started. And then I got real nervous because I was like, people pay a lot of money to come to the conference. I better make sure this content is right. The old me would have micromanaged it. The me today has a member of the Ignite committee who's really good at that. And she's much younger than me. So I elevated her to make sure that those two were ready.
Right. That's great.
And so I think that too is part of a boundary. Like I don't need to do everything.
Right.
There are other people who can do it. Hence the reason you've hired a videographer and a photographer, because that's an important thing that's part of your business. And you want your customers to have a really good experience. And as you grow, you want to have more control over that. So it happened in Ignite this year where I was like, okay, I have to make sure this goes perfectly because blah, 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 blah. And I was like, no, there's someone else who can get this ready for you. Then what happened is I had a contact that moved companies and so was someone I could work with. And the new company she works for, the CEO doesn't care about his people. And remember, I just said no dick rule. But in addition to that, I want to work with companies who actually want to create benefits for their people. They don't view benefits as it's a requirement. I'm air quoting. And so I commend you for saying no, because we are not trained as firstborn daughters, leaders, pleasers to do that. And it will come back to you.
Yeah.
Because now you've opened a space for someone who is aligned with you, whose expectations are appropriate. Because my first response to you was when you chose differently on Sunday, I was like, please, like that your family is the most important thing to me. Because I know as a woman that you can't do your best work for me if you don't have your glass balls, and your glass ball is your husband, yourself, your relationship with God, your kids, held so closely. And so anyone who doesn't do that for you, it's like they're out.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's nice to be at the point now where I feel like I can do that.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
So that's a big win. And I hope I can carry that on. And it was actually the response from the person was lovely too. She was like, I really appreciate you being honest about this.
They'll probably laugh
that she wants to do is me is be like, oh yeah, I'll do that for you.
Yeah.
Not feeling confident and not be able to do what she wants. Yeah. So I hope that they find someone else. And I said, if you have more needs in the future, please, to your point, maybe it will come back around, but it's okay. There's a lot of business to be had out there.
There is a lot of business to be had. So I think I interrupted you in the middle of your marketing tips. I think you got to number 3. What were the others?
Some other ones are just consistent messaging. Yeah. So just putting yourself, we already talked about the importance, I think, of like putting your people and your genuine self forward. And social media is such an amazing place to do that. So I think, making sure that you're consistently showing up and you're great at that. And we're kind of helping you build that content so that you can continuously be, and not just like showing up to say hi, you want to have something meaningful to say, and I think that's where people, it does need a strategy, because I think a lot of times everybody thinks that they can do social media, and so like, why do you need to hire somebody? But we are pretty thoughtful in like trying to be strategic about what we're saying when, and making the content interesting and something people want to engage with, something that's helping them, inspiring them. So but I think just like consistent messaging is important. And then finally is tracking, and this is the piece that can be a little daunting to someone who maybe isn't as familiar with like Google Analytics, for example, but it really is worth,
which is me, by the way. I'm not familiar.
We've got it all set up for you, girl. You don't need to worry about it.
Okay.
But, if you can't do it on your own, then you can find somebody who can, because I think it's really important to you can put all the stuff out there in the world, but if you don't know what's landing and what's hitting, then what's the point?
Yeah,
right?
totally.
So we need to just reflect on, okay, this is working, this isn't working, so that we can be really thoughtful and efficient with our time and our strategy.
Yeah, and really lean into, someone gave me a suggestion today, which I really loved, and I may actually do this for Ignite too, is look at the people who are following the page. And for Ignite, look for people who are not attending the conference.
Interesting, yeah.
And just call them and say, hey, I noticed that you're following the Ignite page, but you've never attended a conference. Can you give me some feedback about that? And if they say the ticket price is too high, the location isn't good, I don't have childcare, and, there's a solution for all those. Because if you can't afford a ticket, I've always said I will give you a ticket gladly. Yeah. And if you have childcare or other personal things that prohibit you from committing to a day, come when you can. I'll give you a free ticket. Come just for the lunch.
Yeah.
Come just for one of the sessions that you really want to hear. Like, there are no requirements for women who want to take the time to grow through development in the conference. And so I thought that was a really good idea. It was actually flipped for Kirsch too, is find the people that are following the page and reach out to them and say, I'd love to, blah, blah, blah.
Well, with email, like that's why email marketing tools like MailChimp are great too, because you can see, you send the email to your, let's say 500 people we have on a list. We send it out. We can literally see who opened it.
Yeah.
I know for some of my nonprofits, like when we're sending an appeal of some sort to raise money, like we can see who's opened them. We can see who's donated. And maybe to your point, similar to inviting to a conference, that gap, like the people who opened it, spent time with the email, maybe even clicked on another call to action in it, but haven't donated yet. That's a really warm lead for an advancement development person to just give a call and give them a nudge. What could we, how could we take this to the next level?
Well, one of the things that makes salespeople, I'll say in general, successful is the follow through. And so how, as an entrepreneur, have you been able to capitalize on follow through? And would you say that's a strong area for you? Would you say that's an area that you're like, I'm 50% efficient at it?
Yeah. I mean, luckily for us, if we have somebody who reaches out to us who's interested, I mean, our close rate's pretty high in terms of I think it's because we're very efficiently priced, or we're pretty affordable compared to the market of marketing agencies in town. So, I mean, I think when it comes to follow-up, that's where just continuing to stay in front of your audience with content that's relevant, so that they're just always thinking of you and you're in their back pocket when they need you.
Yeah.
But, I think that some brands, that's becomes a challenge for me, because as a marketing agency, we spend a lot of time kind of at the top of the funnel, like just getting people aware of the brand, getting them to click to the website, maybe getting them to watch a video, take an action. But what gets a little frustrating sometimes is that, if the client's not seeing like the actual purchase being made or the appointment being booked, they get frustrated in the marketing, but at some point you do need somebody to like close the loop, right?
Yeah.
And so my best success stories are when the marketing is tied very closely to like the sales team. So we have tools where we can put a tracking on the website, and we can see like the businesses that are coming to the website. So like, wow, we did a really great job. We captured someone's attention to the point where they took time to click and come to our website. Now I need a salesperson. I'll give you the person's name, but you guys need to like call and
nurture it along.
Yeah, nurture it along. So I think that to your point, it's really important that those two sides are kind of working hand in hand to like close the loop.
So totally agree. Totally.
So you need both.
Are you involved in the community at all?
I have kids, and back to
time,
learning when to say no.
Yes.
I feel like I used to be a lot more involved, and now as the years have gone by, I've had to kind of take some of that time that I used to dedicate to my family. But what I love is that we work with a lot of nonprofits through Refined. So I do feel like I get a bit of that, and I'm always trying to give them a bit more,
Absolutely.
And so I feel like I get to kind of cross off that bucket a little bit in the time that I would typically spend working. So kind of just dedicating my professional talents to nonprofits to help expand their awareness, and just like,
time, talent, treasure, right?
Yeah.
And so a lot of times I'll do treasure because I don't have the time.
I know.
And it's to other times, like one of my goals this year. So I am going to join Christ the King.
Oh yeah, you said that.
And I talked to Father this week, and that was really fun. And I really want to teach catechism.
Oh, that's amazing.
But I'm telling myself, like, maybe there's a backup log of catechist. and da-da-da. So anyway, I have to talk to him about it and see what that looks like. I've already decided that I don't want high school kids and I don't want anyone preparing for a sacrament. So no communion because the parents, they're freaking nuts.
I know.
I've seen them in youth sports, and I have to say it's probably comparable.
Yeah.
With their, we have football tonight.
Right.
Yeah, no.
Well, and it's a bigger priority for some than others.
Absolutely.
I think it's like finding that.
Box checking for others. And I remember when I had to make decisions about my kids not going to football, youth football, because of CCV. And a coach called me and he's like, yeah. And I said, this is not negotiable. Like, we go to CCD on Wednesdays. Wednesdays used to be a protected night.
It did.
Anyway, now it's not. And even Sundays.
I know.
I think it's terrible.
Well, these basketball tournaments and things are all over the place.
But anyway, I'm excited.
That's great.
I'm going to teach. Hopefully I'm going to be a catechist.
I feel like, I've learned that there's chapters in your life for
absolutely.
Right? And so I believe like my chapter for, that type of work will come back.
Yeah. And you're probably involved in your kids' school, when they're like, hey, we need this in the classroom. And again, time, talent, treasure.
Exactly.
And so as long as you're giving.
And the Venmo mom?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
You need a Venmo.
You need money? Here you go. Yeah. I'm always like, I don't have any time, but will $100 help?
Yeah. Totally.
I feel like $100 is like the staple of gift right now.
They love it.
Tell us about what you're reading. Are you reading anything, listening to any good podcasts?
Yeah. Well, I listened to your podcast the last couple episodes too, leading up to Ignite and everything. That's great. I do love podcasts. I feel like I spend a lot of time in my car.
Yeah. But you have kids in your car a lot, and they're bored by that.
I do. But it's okay. I do a lot of driving by myself too. This past year, I made not to make this whole conversation about spirituality and religion, but I did find this app that was like the Bible in a year. It's called the Bible.
Yeah. I do Hallow every day.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
So I started that, and I can't say that I've done the Bible in the year, but I got about, I don't know, a fourth of the way through, which is better than nothing.
And you're Catholic. Yeah. So I always say Catholics don't learn the Bible.
No.
We don't learn the Bible like others. So I didn't even know, this is a fun fact. Did you know that John and Mary and Elizabeth were cousins? Elizabeth is John's mother.
Yes.
And so, in fact, Jesus and John were cousins in some way.
I didn't really think about it that way.
So Elizabeth and Mary, because Elizabeth is John's mom, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so this is where we're showing, yeah. But when I listened to Hallow this week, one of the days he was breaking down the verse for that day, and he was like, yeah. And so in essence, John and Jesus were cousins. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, and then he ended back.
And Elizabeth and did you also know that Mary and Joseph had agreed to celibacy?
Oh, I did not.
They had agreed to have a celibate marriage.
Oh, well, I mean, I guess it was always celibate then.
Right.
It started off that way.
Just think about that. Think about that for a moment. Like, sometimes I listen to
How did we know this? Was this in the Bible?
Yes.
Okay. See, I've got to keep reading.
I'm far from the best.
My great books. Otherwise, I'm reading a lot of children's books.
Me too.
Every night.
Me too. Good Night Moon.
Yeah. Stinky Face is my favorite book. Yep. I don't know.
Chester. The Town Loves Chester.
The world we live in. And I mean, my guilty pleasure is like pop culture podcast too. So I should probably be listening to something that's really like helping me grow. But at the
do you
same
like
time,
Call Her Daddy?
Yes, I do.
I do that one.
Like the pop apologist.
And it's got a lot less grungy.
Yeah,
it used to be super grungy.
Yeah, she is. I think it's because she's interviewing people like
Michelle Obama.
Yeah, I know.
She had freaking Michelle Obama on her podcast. Let me just say,
that's what's next for you.
Oh my God, I can only dream. I can only dream. What's your favorite go-to restaurant in Omaha right now? Any come to mind?
Ooh, I mean, we go to Dante like twice a week.
You do?
Well, it's right next to our house, and it's right on the way to daycare, and so it's a great way for us to like squeeze in a.
Well, yeah, you told me that one day it was like 4:00 or something, and you called Andy, and you're like, "Hey, let's go have a drink before." I love that you guys do that. Right on the way
to daycare, so I'm like, we'll go have a little, debrief, a little family meeting over a glass of red wine at Dante, and then go get more from daycare together.
I love it.
So
I love it.
Yeah, it's convenience factor. I did go to Pivot. We went to Pivot on Christmas Eve, and that was amazing.
I went to Pivot for lunch a while ago. It was okay.
Yeah,
it was a really expensive burger.
Yeah, the ambiance was cool though.
The ambiance was cool.
They kind of like
they did redo the whole thing. And for anyone who's listening who doesn't live in Omaha, Omaha's always on the list of places to live, but we are foodies here. Like there are so many great restaurants, and I always worry about that a little bit because there's so many. And then when you see them close, you're like, meh.
Yeah.
And they always start out really strong, and then they kind of, something happens. Or if they build a second location, then something happens.
Yeah.
And so I always worry about that. But we are definitely a place where you can get good food. And
they're putting in a Clio by my house too, in shops.
I haven't been to Clio yet. So I just told someone that today.
Part of, our Greek adventure now, and Greek food is very nostalgic.
So good.
Mediterranean, it's very nostalgic.
And so where can people find you?
Yeah, so we're on all social media platforms, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, all the things. We're fine. MKTG is our handle on most platforms.
What's the ideal client for you?
I would say small to mid-sized businesses who, to my point earlier, who don't have like an in-house marketing team. Like anybody who they have one person, or you're a founder and owner that just, you can't do this yourself. It's not in your wheelhouse. It's not a good use of your time, and you want to grow. We're your people.
Awesome. Well, for everybody who's listening, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I'm so very grateful to have AnnMarie here today. She is someone that I trust, who is so smart, and such a fun person to be building this strategy for Ignite and also the Kirsch Group for. So I want to say thank you for being so kind and good to me, and thank you for pouring into me and for providing me with such great output and your ideas. Like, I'm not an expert in this, and so having someone in your life who, I believe, you care about me, I care about you, and who's not afraid to do that. And I have to give a plug for Andy, because he's one of my favorite people too. And recently we were on the phone and he overheard us. And so he came into the phone and he reminded me that I'm his people too.
Yeah.
And I loved that so much. And I think we have to tell each other that more. Like, we don't need to be alone in this world. We have people, and I'm grateful that you're my people.
Good.
So thank you.
Oh, well, me too. This is so fun, and thanks for inviting me to do this. It's fun to kind of get out of my work zone and just have a fun conversation. Yeah, be a guest for once.
I guess.
I know.
Yes. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Appreciate you. Have a wonderful week, and we'll see you soon. Bye.